start over here. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello! This is Two Jesuits Talking. Two Jesuits.
Jesuits.
I am here with Father Eric Immel.
I'm here with Father Damian Torres-Botello. And we are just trying something new. I think it's safe to say we don't really know what we're doing here. You know much more about this than I do. I've simply come into this beautiful room. We have a fireplace, but we're both really hot, so we turned it off.
Yes.
And we're going to try and offer something new. Two Jesuits Talking. I think it's built on friendship. It's built on joy. What would you say we're trying to accomplish here?
Joy. We're trying to accomplish joy.
Joy.
Yes, because I think that we are just in a time where it just feels sometimes that we are robbed of joy, maybe even robbed of hope. And there's lots of people who can talk about the church in all different kinds of ways, but we can talk about the church in a joyful way. And so when there is joy, there is hope, truly. And when there is hope, it makes space for grace, which then leads to peace, which leads to Jesus.
And you heard it here first. This is a Damian Torres-Botello, a Father Damian Torres-Botello original progression. Joy to hope, to grace, to peace, to Jesus, who is the epitome of all of those things, of hope, of joy, of grace, and of peace.
Yeah.
So we make our way through it, and we try to get to the Lord.
We do.
I think that's pretty good.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about stuff.
Stuff.
But we're going to get to that in a little bit. Don't we have something else that we wanted to try first?
I don't know. Oh. We wanted to talk about each other. Is that right?
That's right. Let me just pause for our listening audience. Is it obvious that we've never done this before?
I feel so nervous.
Do you feel nervous?
I do.
Really?
Yeah.
Unpack that for me.
Well, because I know that people are going to be watching this, and it's like I am in between how much of myself can I be and how much of a personality should I be, and so my body is like going in and out of both of those things, and then I'm trying to be articulate and attentive so that I can know what to say next.
So wait a minute. Which I think is something that we had in mind. We do have a little script here, a little, quote, agenda, as it were, of how we're going to make it through this first episode. But I kind of want to digress right away. Can we do that?
We can do that.
Okay, so you have a theater background. This is part of what we're going to do. I'm going to say a lot more about Father Damian Torres-Botello in a minute. But one thing that you should know right off the bat is that he has a theater background. And I feel like sort of what you just described is the tension between committing to a character and committing to being fully yourself.
Yeah.
Because there is always some of you in a character. And I think oftentimes the character takes on parts of who you really are.
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense. Can I try to say that one different way?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you are an actor, you're playing a character.
Yes.
And you have to become the character, but you can never escape yourself. You can't suspend who you are. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the character is influenced by who you are. If you play the character really well, it probably influences the way that you live your own life, right?
Yeah.
If you've played a really significant role, you in some ways become that role. Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, just a fun example, will always be Michelle Tanner to me. Always, no matter what. That is a 1990s reference, Full House. Full disclosure, we're in our 40s. So you're probably going to get a lot of maybe late 80s for me, early mid-90s references.
Yeah.
Fair to say?
Yeah.
So you're nervous.
I'm nervous.
Unpack that. What's the fear in just being who you are?
What's the fear of who I am? I don't think it's a fear. I think it is. Well, nervousness is another form of excitement. So I'm excited to do this, and I don't want to mess up. I don't even know what messing up looks like because we have no idea what we're doing. I mean, we know what we're doing, but we don't at the same time.
Well, we clearly got the mic set up and we're recording right now.
Yes.
So there's some knowledge here.
We have some knowledge. We have the gear.
You don't want to mess up.
Yeah.
Neither do I, of course. I mean, I want this to be...
Here's a story.
Talk.
So many, many years ago, I owned a theater company. And I founded...
What was it called? Remind me.
Full Circle Theater Company.
Full Circle Theater Company.
And my business partner, Jeremy, and I started this theater company. And we were doing an interview on the radio. It was a Catholic radio station in Kansas City, Missouri, where I'm from. And the guy on the radio was interviewing us, and he asked us, what kind of topics will your theater company be engaging in or doing? And so we've been going at this point of this interview. Like we had a couple
You had
of years
already
under-
established the theater company. You already had a reputation. You already had players. You already had actors. You had already produced shows. The whole deal.
Yes. And this is a theater company that had to do with social justice themes. And so he was asking about what kind of themes we were going to do. And so he looks to me and asks me this question because I wasn't talking at all. Because Jeremy is really articulate and could speak very well. I, like now, was nervous. And so he asked that question, what kind of themes are you going to be looking at? And I said very nervously, obesity.
What?
I have no idea.
Have you ever, in your life, in the context of this theater company, done a show explicitly about obesity?
We were reading a play that we were considering that had to do with body image that included obesity, but it wasn't directly about obesity. And it was a question about social justice issues. And there were a myriad of other things I could have said. And all I said was obesity. And then I looked at Jeremy nervously, and he looked at me and then decided to save the conversation and went deeper.
It reminds me that viral video of the kid being interviewed who is dressed like a zombie or a ghoul or something like that. And he's being interviewed about this Halloween festival that he's at. And this interview lady is like, so how are you having a great time today? And he just looks at the camera and says, I like turtles. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah. So you just kind of got caught in a moment.
Yeah, I got caught in a moment.
Do you think this will get easier for you, though?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. Are you nervous?
I'm not. Or I should say this. I'm nervous about speaking well. I'm nervous about representing myself well, we're both Jesuit priests, representing the Society of Jesus well, representing the people that we serve well, giving dignity to the people that we work with. I'm nervous about wasting people's time, if I can say it that way. I mean, I think as a preacher, as a presider, as someone who is often asked to bring people into communion through the words that I share, I just desperately don't want to waste people's time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I would say that I'm nervous or anxious about that. But I think this gets to part of what we're really trying to do here. You said joy, right? Joy to hope, to grace, to peace, to Jesus.
Yeah.
But another part of this for us is to share the gift of friendship, right?
Yeah.
And I am never nervous around you, ever.
No.
So that doesn't make me nervous. Doesn't make me nervous to share our friendship with people. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe it will help people draw more deeply into their own friendships, into their own relationships. We hope that it points people more deeply to Jesus, because I think that it's pretty easy to say that Jesus is the very center of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? So am I nervous? Not really. Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever get nervous? Little tidbit about Father Eric. It is that he majored in jazz music. Is that right? Jazz conducting? Jazz trumpet?
Minor in jazz performance.
Minor in jazz performance. And so you've performed as well. Did you ever get nervous when you performed?
You know, wow, we're just in it. This is great. This is kind of what we were hoping would happen. We do have a theme for today. We're going to get to it eventually, but we're just talking. When I was in like 6th grade, I had a great band director as a kid, Mr. Cal Segrist, who I think anyone that went to St. Matthew School in Green Bay, Wisconsin, who played in the band would agree. This guy was out of control good. He had a way of just encouraging and championing and supporting, and he had a way of quelling fear. So I remember it was 6th grade. We were doing a very toned down version of a great jazz standard called It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. And there was a space for a trumpet solo. I played the trumpet. And Mr. Segrist just looked at me and said, go for it. I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, play the solo. And there was something scripted. So I played it. There was something noted out. So I played exactly the notes. And he said, no, that's not what I mean. You know the notes. You know the scale, right? You know the chords. You know how to play which notes. You know something about jazz rhythm. I said, well, yeah. He's like, just make something up. So he invited me to this experience of improvisation for the first time, which of course I was terrified about. But that was in 6th grade, you know?
Yeah.
One of the worst moments of my life. It was at a parish picnic. The jazz band was playing. And we played exactly that song. I played an improvised solo. And afterward, as he was giving sort of an outro to that song, or, you know, when you hear a concert or at a jazz concert, you give credit to the soloist, like, and Johnny Goodman on the tenor sax, and everybody claps, right? He was like, and how about Hot Lips Immel on the trumpet? And I was like, you just called a 12-year-old boy Hot Lips in front of his entire church community. I was embarrassed.
Devastating.
So I'm being very long-winded here, but that invitation to improvisational jazz, that invitation to just try, to trust the structure, to trust what I'm capable of, to know what I can do, and then just to go for it.
Yeah.
I think I have enough experience doing that when there's open space, I just try to fill it with something that might be meaningful to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Nice.
No, I'm not super nervous.
Okay.
And I hope that you ease.
I'll ease.
Yeah,
I'll
good.
ease. Yeah, I'll ease. There'll be a point when I'm stopped being aware of all of this, right? Like at some point, it'll start.
Can I be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm pretty much there.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty locked in right now. I mean, I hope that doesn't sound braggy. Like here I am acknowledging the camera. Like I feel good.
Good.
Yeah, good. All right, what do we got? What are we doing?
So we have our theme. Is that right?
No, introductions.
Oh.
Remember when we stopped the first time because I wanted to.
Okay, so we're going to introduce each other. That's how we're going to start.
That's what we're going to do.
That's what we're going to do. And I am here with Father Eric Immel. I don't know what else to say. Want to say something? Oh, fun facts? Is that how we should do it?
I think part of what we thought would be fun is you just, whatever you feel called to share.
So the first time that I met Father Eric was when it was I was a candidate in the Society of Jesus, and Eric was already in the novitiate.
Pause for a second.
Yes.
Can I interrupt you? Are you really going here right now?
I'm going to go here. Yeah.
Can I interrupt you, or do I just have to let you say what you need to say?
You just have to say what I have to say.
Okay.
So I'm at St. Paul, Minnesota, where the novitiate is for the Midwest Jesuits, and I introduced myself because my name is Damian, and then the rest of the evening, Father Eric would call me Diego. And I didn't have the heart to correct him either, so I just lived with it. And I think it was Father Aaron, your partner in crime and vocations, who I think corrected you.
So I am a vocation promoter for the Midwest Province. Another very good friend of ours, Father Aaron Malnick, does the vocation promotion work for the Midwest Province with me. That's who he's speaking about. You think Father Aaron corrected me?
I think so.
When did he correct me?
Like later on down the line.
Because
I remember being outside.
Wasn't that at vows? And then a week later, you entered the society.
Yeah, that was at ordination. At the ordination of that year.
Which was in St. Paul.
St. Paul, yeah.
Okay, got you. So I don't know, that probably paints me in some kind of way that I called clearly a third-generation Mexican-American whose name is Damian, Diego. What does that say about me? Oh, it's funny. That's literally the first thing that you told them about me. And I'm already interrupting you profoundly. Please continue.
Well, that's Father, and that's what I'll say right now about Father Eric Immel, who's a jazz musician, trumpeter, singer, drummer, spiritual director, priest.
So one tack I could take here is just to say words that loosely describe you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, I don't know. Let me just go for it. Okay, so this is Father Damian Torres-Botello from Kansas City, Missouri. Did his college at is it St. Mary's College?
St. Mary College. Just one.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if it was St. Mary's University or the College of St. Mary, which is in Omaha, Nebraska. St. Mary's College in Leavenworth, Kansas. Mm-hmm. And your degree was in theater. Mm-hmm. Okay. After that, you moved to Kansas City. At some point, did you move right to Kansas City after college? Did you move back home?
I moved back home.
And then how soon after that did you start the theater company?
Shortly
okay,
after.
So that was your young adulthood was in Kansas City.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay. It was in Kansas City that you had your first real encounter with the Society of Jesus, correct?
Chicago.
Oh my gosh.
I knew about the Jesuits in Kansas City because of Rockhurst High School, and my grandparents were friends with Jesuits.
So am I getting my timeline wrong? You had this powerful moment of sort of invitation,
yes,
conversion
that's right.
in the Jesuit church, which looks like a veil.
St. Francis Xavier Church. That's right.
And that happened before you moved.
Just before I moved to Chicago.
Okay, so I'm not entirely off here.
No, you're not. No.
So Kansas City, a great period of life. Gosh, there's so much more I want to say about your early life, but we'll pause on that. You felt some stirring within you to make a change. And so in your late 20s, you moved from Kansas City to Chicago, where you lived in Old Town, correct?
Uptown.
Uptown. Okay, gosh. Do we really know each other at all?
I don't know.
Lived in Chicago. Had an experience of the Society of Jesus there. You did some administrative jobs. You worked for a nonprofit for a while, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. You worked in higher ed in Kansas City before you moved to Chicago.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Had this great experience meeting the Jesuits, regular communicant, and went to regular confessions at St. Paul's in the Loop.
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's in the Loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And adoration.
And that's what sort of stirred you into some consideration that maybe the priesthood, maybe the Society of Jesus was possible. Yeah. So then you reached out. And then the rest, I guess, is history.
Yeah.
You know what I remember? I remember something about you. That before I actually met you in person, I don't know how you would have known to reach out to me. Maybe we crossed paths, or maybe I wrote something somewhere. But you reached out to me, I think, through Facebook Messenger.
Did I?
A couple of times. I think just trying to build connection. I'm not sure whether I acknowledged it or not. I'm not very good at messages like that.
I don't remember that at all. I mean, it doesn't mean I also have a bad memory.
So I knew your name before I met you, but clearly I didn't remember that it was Damian because I, called you Diego until someone corrected me. Which, by the way, can I just make a claim here? If someone calls you by the wrong name, you have to correct them. How do you feel about that?
I've done that before. People have called me the wrong name many times in my life, and I just let them do it. Just because I don't know. I feel like it just feels weird to be like, I don't know. Well, I should say this. Now, at this age that I am, I wouldn't hesitate. But obviously there was a time, which included the time that we met, where I would have been like, I would not have wanted to.
Interesting. To go back to one of the very first things you said, do you think you were nervous? Do you think there was something performative about that moment?
Absolutely, I was nervous.
So you were happy to be Diego?
Yeah. Yeah, I was happy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to my friend Libby Smith. Libby and I have known each other for probably 4 years now. Libby is engaged to be married, so let's just, come on, raise the roof with me for that. For like a semester at Creighton University, where I currently live, I called Libby Lily. And she never corrected me, nor did any of her friends correct me. I very publicly referred to her as Lily on multiple occasions, and nobody ever corrected me. So here's the question. Is it my fault that I didn't get the name right the first time? Is that my fault? I mean, I always try to listen, and I actually think I'm very good with names. I think.
I mumble. So it could have easily been, I'm Damian, and you could have heard Diego, because I could have sounded like I said Diego. People think when I say Damian, I've said Jamie.
Really? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, we need to get off of this. So here, let me continue my introduction of Damian. You went to the Jesuits.
It was so long. I just didn't say that much about you.
Well, I didn't know it. I mean, you chose to introduce me, and now I'm choosing to introduce you. You went to the Jesuits. I think that there's been some serious movement in your life as a Jesuit. One thing I can say about you is that you have built tremendous skills. You never gave up on your creative spirit. You did some writing. You have continued to write as a Jesuit. I think that you found a unique gift and passion for spiritual direction and for the spiritual life. And I think you've done more than most people to cultivate that, which is really lovely to witness. I think that you've become a tremendously pastoral person. Not that you weren't already sensitive, compassionate, tender before, but I think now you've seen enough of reality. I think also because of your background, some of what you've experienced in your life as a whole has led you to have a real ability to meet people where they're at. I think that you make people feel safe. I think that you make people feel comfortable. I think that you are, in the best way, opinionated. You have strong thoughts about the right kinds of things. I think it's important that people know that you are a third generation Mexican American, that you were raised by a very strong single mother and by your grandparents. I think it's important that people know that your mom passed away some time ago, but that it lingers pretty heavy for you in a good way. I think people need to know that your mom got married to a guy named Manuel, who is an amazing dude, and your dad is awesome, and he became your dad, and
Yes.
he's a big part of your life. What else do I want people to know about you?
I don't speak Spanish, just so you know.
I wasn't going to say that. He doesn't speak Spanish. I think that in your mid-40s, is it okay to say that you're in your mid-40s?
I'm more in my late.
Do you really think you're in your late 40s?
47? That's late. That's getting there. I'll be 48 this year.
Well, okay. Pause for a second. I heard something today that I thought was really funny. The person said that 5'10" is the tallest of short people.
I'm 5'10".
And 5'11" is the shortest of tall people.
I'm the tallest of short people.
You're the tallest of short people. I say I'm 6 feet tall. I can't believe I'm going to admit this publicly. I think I'm probably like 5'11" and 3/4. So I'm like the shortest of tall people. But I'm 6 feet tall. Okay. So what I think I'm getting at is I think 47 is the oldest of the mid-40s. I'm 43. I think that I am the oldest of the early 40s.
You're 43?
Yeah.
Oh,
How old did you think I was?
44. I mean, it's just 1 year off.
Just 1 year off. Yeah. I think I said 46. I was 1 year off too. High five for being 1 year off. Yeah, I don't know. What else do people need to know about you? Yeah, you're the best. You're the best.
There you go. And all I said about Eric was, he called me Diego.
That's okay.
That's the most self-centered introduction I've ever done.
Father Damian, listen, you said the very first story that you told was about how as you begin in these kinds of spaces, you're a little nervous and you tend to be a little more in the background. So I'm calling you into the front.
Oh.
I'm going to step back. You're going to step up. Okay?
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
That sounds okay.
That is like small group facilitation 101. Step back, step up. If you're a little more shy, step up. If you're a little less shy, take a step back. Take a step back. Okay. Here's how these episodes are going to work.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to transition.
Yeah.
So there aren't necessarily segments. There aren't necessarily scripts. What we have done is come up with a list of themes that are quite random, actually. I mean, I think when we came up with this list, we were just throwing out single words, which capture topics that we might find interesting to discuss, that we might think you find interesting to listen about and to listen to, I guess, and to discuss on your own. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you the theme for today.
Yes.
And there's a particular reason why we're introducing this theme today, which I will share in a second. But first, the theme for today is stuff. Stuff.
Yes.
S-T-U-F-F. Stuff. For some context, this episode we think is going to be released today. You're listening to this today if you're listening to it on the day that it's released, on Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
Which is a day when Catholics get, we get stuff.
We get ashes.
Right?
We get stuff.
There is something about the Catholic faith that loves stuff.
Yes.
People love getting their ashes. They love getting their palms on Palm Sunday. Mm-hmm. It was like a feeding frenzy when the church that I'm often at was taking down its Christmas decorations. After the big Sunday morning mass, they made an announcement, stick around and help. There was like a feeding frenzy for the poinsettias.
Poinsettias.
Catholics love stuff.
I love stuff.
And I would say this also, not to get too heavy into the theology of stuff, but we are very much a faith of stuff. We use lots of material.
It's very tactile.
To make manifest the way that God's grace is at work, right? Mm-hmm. We use water, we use oil, we use bread and wine, food to consecrate, to bring the body and blood of Christ. We use fire. We are a faith of stuff. Not only that, churches are full of stuff. They're full of hymnals. They're full of candles. There are books, right?
Relics.
There are altars. There are instruments. There's all kinds of stuff involved in any major expression of the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
So we thought it'd be fun to talk about stuff.
Stuff.
How many times can we say it? Stuff. Okay. Here's how I want to begin.
Uh-oh.
We are not in Damian's room.
No, we're not.
Most of the time, Jesuits don't really spend time in each other's bedrooms. That's just kind of a standard, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But I have seen the inside of Damian's room. And I would say that you are modest in your attire. You don't have a ton of clothing. Is that a fair thing to say?
I've gained some, but mostly, yeah.
Yeah, and you are very good about sort of paring back when you don't wear things anymore. I'm not exactly that way. But one thing about you, you have, this is not the right word, but you have just a cacophony of stuff. I mean, you have these shelves in your bedroom that are just filled with stuff. You have more tchotchkes. I think that's an appropriate word. You have more trinkets. You have more like little displays of stuff in your room.
I do.
Than anyone I've ever met. I mean, you are decorated to the max. I mean, it's not ridiculous. It's all very tasteful. And you have an affection for certain kinds of things. I mean, you have a huge record collection. You are kind of obsessed, would you say, with owls?
Yeah, I do like owls.
You love owls.
Yeah.
You have posters, you have photographs, you have paintings that people have given you. You have things that folks have offered you that remind you of them. I mean, you have tons of stuff.
And I've pared down.
Also, this is another funny thing about you, which I love. You have stuff to hold your stuff. Like you, Father Damian, you have cases for everything. I mean, you have kits for everything. You have a kit for this, a little kit for that. You have a little baggie, you have little twisty ties, all kinds of stuff to manage your stuff. So here's my question.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
What's the deal?
What's your deal with stuff?
I like stuff. When I lived in Chicago, I thought of myself as a minimalist, and I had very little of anything.
What did that look like? Take me into your Chicago.
Like I had one pan, one pot to cook with. I had one dinner plate, a salad plate, or like a pasta plate or whatever. One fork, spoon, and knife, a cup, a coffee cup. Like that's what I had.
Did you host people ever?
No, I lived in a very small studio, so it was not a very hostable place.
In Uptown, not Old Town.
In Uptown. Montrose Beach Apartments. Shout out. And I had a futon, and I had a very tiny closet, and I had my dresser in my closet because the space was so small. I thought it would look well there, so I needed so few clothes.
Do you remember the square footage of the place?
It was like, I don't remember. I want to say it was something like 400, maybe 300.
I mean, that would be a very small studio.
Yeah.
Also, just to the side, you know that no one who lives in Montrose Beach Apartments is ever going to hear this, right?
I know.
Shout out.
Yay.
Okay, so you had a very small spot.
I had a very small spot.
Same.
And then, but with that said, I still had stuff. They were in storage in Kansas City. So then it all stayed there. And then I gave it...
like a storage unit? Or
no, like my parents' basement.
Yeah.
And then I gave it all away immediately. And then as I entered and moved through life as a Jesuit, I just collected more things because I like to remember people. I'm very sentimental. So I like to keep things that remind me of people or times. And the thing is that I am not attached to any of that. There's like one owl that belonged to my mom that I would probably grab if there was a fire. But that's it. Everything else I'm detached from. But right now, I like looking at it. Like I'll look around my room and just look at the stuff.
Do you forget that you have certain things?
No.
You don't?
No. I don't have that much stuff. There was a time when that was the case, when I lived on my own, but not anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you could talk me through your shelves. Do it. I mean, I'm not like trying to be pushy.
No.
Like just paint the picture. I think people, I don't know, invite people into your...
Well, I mean, the room...
Your sanctuary.
So the room, I'm in Cincinnati. We're in Cincinnati, and I'm in the Cincinnati Jesuit community. And so the rooms here are pretty big. This Jesuit residence used to be an apartment, and then it was renovated. And so the rooms are pretty big. And so the room that I have had built-in shelves. And so I had to have stuff to fill the shelves with. So there's a lot of books that are in there. I have a shelf of theater books, a shelf of books that have to do with race and racism, anti-racism. I have books of just lots of spiritual exercises books. I have books of like pray with so-and-so in so many days. A lot of Jesuit books like Ignatius's letters and constitutions. And
you probably have like commentaries, all your liturgical
Yeah.
books, all that stuff.
Yeah, and then I have another shelf on the kind of on a caddy corner wall of all the books that I use to help write homilies, all the commentaries and whatnot. And then there I have
That's right.
I have like a clock that my friend Jeremy gave me when I was leaving to go to the novitiate, and I have a picture of my cousin Laura and I from the different ages that we were. I have a painting that a friend of ours, Father Patty Gilger, gave me that's sitting up on the shelf. I have little tiny baby animals and a baby Jesus, like not baby Jesus, but one of those tiny Jesuses that people gave me on top of a thing that has quarters inside of it. I have lots of owls that remind me of my mother. That's kind of why I'm obsessed with them, I suppose.
Were you into owls before she passed?
No.
No. I actually did not know that was part of the love of owls.
Yeah. That was the first owl, the one that belongs to my mom. But then now I have all these other ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And lots of pictures of family, of my graduating class from college. I have a nice wall that has my novitiate class ordination pictures. Our vow formula that we write out and sign is framed. Ooh.
Good.
So yeah, all kinds of things.
And you say that you're sentimental. What is that?
Because they remind me of people. I wouldn't keep them. I don't have any. I think there are probably a handful of things, maybe 2 handfuls of things that I bought generically. And so if I wanted to get rid of something, it'd be hard to. But I found this was years ago, from I think they were called the Minimalists, these 2 guys who practice minimalism. And one of the pieces of advice they gave about, sometimes you hold on to things because you're sentimental about them, but they're not really doing anything. You just have it and they become stuff. And so they said, take a picture of it and then create a photo album of it. Well, I don't need a photo album. I'll just keep it on my phone. So now if I'm going to get rid of it, I will take a picture of it so that I always have the memory of it. And then I feel like I can get rid of it.
Do you feel like you'll look at the picture as often as you actually consider the stuff itself?
No, I don't even look at those pictures. But somehow when I took the picture, I was able to let it go.
So it's something about knowing that the picture exists.
That's right.
Gives you enough comfort to let go of the thing, which you may or may not actually need. In
Yeah.
your life. I mean, how much stuff do we really need?
We don't need those stuff.
Right?
No,
right.
we
Yeah.
don't.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you said it, but maybe I'm just going to ask the question again. Do you have a prized possession of all the stuff?
Yeah, my mom's owl.
Yeah.
Oh, and I would also say probably I have a big I have an altar in my room. Altar. Very Mexican American, very my grandmother. And I have my grandmother's statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus.
It's like
It's very big. It's very big. So I have it on my altar. So that's also kind of a prized possession too, I would say.
So, God forbid, burning building. You're running out with your mom's owl in one hand and your grandmother's Sacred Heart. You're just everything else. Let it go.
Everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Wow. Stuff.
You have stuff too.
I do. Yeah, I do. I have.
But I feel like your stuff is very memorable. Like when you have so few of it, but it feels like that they mean something even stronger because there's so few of them.
Yeah, I'm not sure I could claim to be a simple guy. I think I have actually a lot of stuff. Part of it is because in my current community, I live at Creighton University in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm a part of the Omaha Jesuit community. We've got 2 spots, one at Creighton Prep, the high school, one at the university. I live at the university, and we just moved into a beautiful new community. And I have more space in the room now that I have than I've ever had before as a Jesuit. And so I think that I'm a simple person. I think if I had a small room, I would have a small number of possessions. But I'm also somebody, and maybe you're getting a sense of this, I think you could probably agree. I for better or for worse, I kind of take up space. I fill up space.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have more stuff than I want to have right now. But what kind of stuff do I have? I mean, I have photos of friends and family. I've got, I've got a couple of plants.
You have whales.
I like whales.
You have letters of a friend of
That's
yours.
That's right. Yeah. My friend who passed away a long time ago, her initials, I have those.
You have a bowl.
I do. Oh, great. I have a sterling silver bowl
Yeah.
that belonged to my Aunt Mary, who passed away from cancer, over a decade ago now. And it was the wedding gift that my mother gave her bridesmaids on their wedding day. And I'm sorry to say, I don't use that bowl for anything in particular. I just kind of use it, ironically, to hold other stuff. I should probably get out the silver polish and give it a good scrub down.
Yeah.
But I do. I have some very focused and very personal things.
Do you have a glass dog? We share this.
Oh, I was just going to say, I tend to go on streaks. I tend to be a little streaky with the kind of stuff that I like. Like right now, I would say that I'm a little too into t-shirts.
Okay. You do have a lot of clothes.
Too many clothes. And a lot of it's t-shirts, and a lot of it's because of the work that I've been doing over the last couple of years. I travel all over the place. I'm on the road for work probably 60, maybe 70% of the time. I visit all these different universities. I visit all these different Catholic communities. And I've just found it fun to mark the moment by getting a little swag. So
you also work out a lot too.
I do work out. Yeah, I do work out.
You have to have t-shirts.
I don't know if you can notice, but I do. I work out. So I think I have sort of a t-shirt collection right now. Now, at the end of the day, could I get rid of every one of them? Yeah, fine. But I tend to have little collections of things that build up over time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So stuff. Yeah. But we were going to say this, right? We have something very strange in common. When we were both growing up, we had collections of glass dogs.
Yes. We had glass dogs.
I don't know if anyone remembers Hallmark stores. Do they even exist anymore?
They do. They're around.
They do. Okay, yeah. So obviously Hallmark stores are primarily for cards. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And they have tchotchkes. They have tchotchkes.
And then they have these cases. They have they're round, usually with a little gold sort of edge.
Yeah.
They're multi-tiered. They spin, and there's a little mirror, and they were just filled with glass dogs. And I don't know why, but when I was a kid, I was sort of obsessed with these things. Now, a kid's collection, I probably had 20 glass dogs. I mean, it's not like I had hundreds, but I had a lot of glass dogs.
I had a lot of glass dogs too. They were a theme of gift for Christmas and Easter when I was a kid. And so I would, because whenever.
So you could count on 2 glass dogs a year.
Pretty much. Yeah. And I also had almost a life-size one that had its own dog bed that my mom got me once. And I had all these other dogs.
What?
Yeah. I had a huge collection of these dogs.
How many?
I don't remember.
Just take a shot.
Probably maybe 20, 25. I mean, that felt like a lot.
Felt like a lot as a kid.
Yeah, because I didn't collect much as a kid. I wasn't a collector of things like I would think I am now. But so these dogs were a lot. And so I had all kinds of dogs. I had all the dogs I ever had as a kid. So I had a Doberman, and I had a little beagle, and I had a German Shepherd. So I had those 3 dogs to remind me of the dogs I had growing up.
Yeah, see, I didn't have dogs growing up. And that's interesting to me. My mom grew up just south of Green Bay. She grew up on a farm. And I think they had work dogs. And I should confirm this with my mother. So please don't judge my mother for this. But I think she really thought that dogs were meant for the farm. They were meant to be sort of service animals to work. So I don't know how hard we pushed the question when we were little. But I remember wanting a dog as a kid. And also knowing that it just wasn't going to happen. So maybe, and I'm fine with that. Maybe I had these collected glass dogs as a way to sort of satiate my desire for an actual dog.
I'm surprised you didn't have a dog.
Yeah, we didn't have a dog. Also, my dad ran a construction company, and they had a couple of German Shepherds, Bull and Bear, who guarded the yard at night. So maybe both my parents had this idea that, dogs are great. Dogs are wonderful. Dogs are for work,
Yeah.
Dogs, put them to work. Yeah, interesting.
No.
But I had a few other collections as well. I collected Pogs. Do you remember Pogs?
I don't remember Pogs.
Those milk caps that you would slam the thing down on and they would flip over. And then
no.
So I had that. Tech decks. When I was in high school, I worked at an Applebee's and I would have cash on hand all the time because I made tips. I would go to the KB toy store and buy a tech deck. So I probably had 25 tech decks. Tech decks, by the way, are little mini finger skateboards. Totally ridiculous.
Weird.
Oh yeah, I could do all kinds of stuff. I was pretty good. Yeah, I was pretty good. In fact, some of my buddies' kids, John and Emily, their kids have tech decks now, and I'm just blowing their minds with my kick flips and my little pop shove-its and all this kind of stuff. I guess I might be a collector at heart.
Yeah,
but stuff. Yeah, stuff. This is what I've been thinking about because when we brought up the topic of stuff. I was thinking about this book. Do you know the book by Tim O'Brien, The Things They Carried?
It sounds familiar.
Okay, so I'm going to try and transition this into something here. You ready for it?
Okay, here we go.
So it starts off, and the book is called The Things They Carried. It's a novel about both the Vietnam War and the after effects on people who fought in the war. And the opening chapter of the book is a description of the things that they carried. Mm. And it starts by describing the material things that these guys carried, canteens, ration packs, ammunition, gun, layers, all this stuff. Like, you have this and you have that, you have extra set of t-shirt, you have sock, blah, blah, blah. And it was sort of an overwhelming description of just how much it took for them to be in this place, right? How much they needed to have with them, how much they needed to be prepared for any circumstance, for any situation. But then he very masterfully transitions into the stuff.
Yeah.
Like they carried the fear and the burden and the fog of war. They carried broken relationships, both from the places they left and the broken relationships they encountered in the midst of war. They carried the trauma, they carried the images, they carried all that stuff. So I think there is a way to talk about stuff. Like you've probably had friends. It's like, oh man, she's dealing with a lot of stuff right now.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. What does that mean to you? Like, what do you think of that as a way of thinking about stuff?
When I was a part of this, I always call it a cult, but it wasn't a cult. It was just like the self-help group called.
Please. Hold on. Let me just be abundantly clear. Dame is a Catholic priest. He is not, nor was he ever.
No.
In a cult.
Okay. But it felt like it. There was like a self-help group.
Sure.
And I did it for like 3 years. It was very helpful. I was in a dark place in my early 20s, and it helped me through it. So
in college or post-college?
Post-college.
When the theater company is getting started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like college theater. And they had this image, which I still think about. Several things from that era of my life I still carry with me. And this was one of them, was the sense of they had, if you are walking through a door and this woman would be on the stage, like giving this lecture or this talk about this, whatever the topic was. And she said, imagine yourself carrying 3 chairs. And so she would pick up these 3 chairs. And then she's like, and now you're walking in life with these 3 chairs. And everyone's like, how are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm fine. And you're just walking with these 3 chairs. And you try and walk through a door, and it's difficult to walk through a door with these 3 chairs and everything. And this idea of, we're calling it stuff, but like all this stuff that you're carrying with you weighs you and prevents you from entering into spaces and prevents you from being free and full of yourself, not full of yourself, but full of yourself. And so I always imagine that of like, the things that people carry are these things that you can't see. Almost kind of like what's the ghost that introduces to Scrooge, the very first one that comes. That
the ghost of Christmas Past?
No, Marley. Jacob Marley.
So it's a kind of a temporal thing,
Yeah. Jacob Marley, and he's carrying his stuff.
Yeah, he's covered it. Yeah, yes, excellent.
Yeah. So excellent. Like that's kind of what I think about when I think of those kind of like emotional, experiential stuff that we carry with us.
So as a priest, how do you accompany people who carry so much stuff? What's the approach? I mean, we hear versions of this line all the time. You don't know what you don't know, or you don't know what people are going through, or you have no idea what people are carrying. How do you approach that in your pastoral life? I mean, by the way, Damian is the director of evangelization for the Jesuit family of parishes in Cincinnati, Ohio. I want you to tell me everything about what that means at some point. But that means that you're encountering people in a Catholic parish community on a regular basis, one-on-one in groups. And I mean, I'm not wrong. They've all got stuff,
we
right?
All have stuff.
And we're going to honor these people. We're not going to point to anyone in particular. But how, as a priest, have you found the task, the job, the responsibility of accompanying them, of carrying those things with them?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to be able to recognize that I too am carrying things. And so when they walk into a room, I also have in the room my things. So I am not of any consequence in the sense we are human beings in the same room. And all of us are carrying something. So I think that's the first thing, is to remember. I think the moment I forget that I also have stuff, then then I don't know. I think it prevents me from listening or being empathetic. And then I just think about Jesus. Is it Barnabas? The one word, not Barnabas, Bartimaeus.
Bartimaeus from Mark's Gospel?
Yeah, where Jesus asks him, "What do you want?"
Yeah, Bartimaeus. Oh, you ready? 10:46-52. Mark chapter 10:46-52. No big deal.
No big deal. So yeah, so like
Dropped it.
so he asks him, "What does he want?" And that's kind of what as a priest, at least, or anyone who accompanies somebody, you kind of have to let them tell you which of all this stuff are they going to like figure out and show to you, or share with you. It's not fair for me to say, "Oh, I know why they're here," because they look a mess, so something must be going on, and I'm just going to presume what it is. No, you allow them to talk about it. Allow them to sift through all their things.
Do you think that you take their stuff on your shoulders?
No.
You don't.
No. That's the Holy Spirit. That is all Holy Spirit. You give it to God. You allow God to handle it. You give it because it rightfully belongs to God and to that person.
Interesting.
I am not.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I guess the reason I'm surprised by the answer is because I feel like one of the great joys of my life is being one of the great gifts of priesthood, of being a Jesuit, of cultivating this disposition, this life, this ministry, is that when people unload their stuff, right?
Yeah.
They are able, whether I'm ready for it or not, they're able to unload it in such a way that they're giving it to me so that I carry it with them. And then together, I mean, think of the image this way. If you have a 100-pound box on the ground, you and I both could pick it up ourselves.
Yeah.
It would be laborious. It would be challenging, maybe a little cumbersome. But if two of us picked it up together, it'd be way easier to carry. And then we carry it off to where it needs to go, right? So I feel like people put these things on my shoulders. They lay these things in my hands, and together we're able to lift them up to God where they stay.
Yeah.
I don't hold it forever. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
It does, and
I don't think we're disagreeing with each other.
No, I don't think at all.
Yeah,
I mean, I carry it for as long as we are in the same space together. But
I keep leaning back and then coming off camera. I have to
be in the camera. They want to see you.
Sorry, I interrupted.
But no, we carry it together for as long as we are together. And then when they move on, when they go back into their life, then I give it up to God, as they probably are trying to do. Because I have to be able to let it go, because there are more people coming, and I cannot hold it all. And I think it would be very presumptuous of me if I can.
Are you speaking about the confessional specifically right now? Or is this just the general rhythm?
This is the general rhythm.
Yeah.
Confessional, spiritual direction, someone who's coming in for a one-time, one-off thing.
Yeah. Well.
Because it's just happening. I mean, it happens a lot as a parish priest. At least in my experience of it, it's constantly moving of people. And I learned early on as a Jesuit, not so much as in this role that I'm in, that holding on to something doesn't really help me in my ministry at all. Because then I'm carrying it and I'm not present with the person that's in front of me now, because I'm still holding on to something somebody else gave me. Now, when they come back into the room, then I'll pick it up again and we'll carry it together. But when they're away from me, that's up. I mean, it's in God's hands now. It's totally in God's hands.
That makes, yes. I mean, that's right. That's right. Huh. Wow.
Yeah. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking,
because you're also a spiritual director.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking in sort of a different direction here, but what is it to carry people's things with them and then to turn them over to God? I mean, what I want to say is it's the greatest privilege.
It's awesome.
It's like the thing that, one, I believe I was born to do, and two, that I want to do as much as possible. Now, it doesn't mean it's not hard all the time. It doesn't mean that sometimes I don't get bogged down, weighed down. I totally get overwhelmed. Sometimes I've, heard or am hearing things that I just never expected to hear my whole life, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. But again, it's this gift and grace of being able to surrender things to God so that God can carry it. I mean, that is the image of Christ on the cross, right? I can't remember who the poet is. I really should have looked this up, but there's a poet who writes this kind of meditation on the crucifixion. And it starts off with a little bit of a sneer. It's like, who is this? Jesus on the cross. All the things that I have in my life, and I carry them for years. He was up there for 3 hours and that was it. How hard is that? Now, terrible, brutal, awful way to die. But how hard is that really? 3 hours, and then it's over? Okay. But then the poet flips the whole thing and is like, yeah, but what we often don't realize is that he has the weight of all of eternity and all of the brokenness and all of the sin of all mankind for all time on his shoulders. It is a miracle that he lasted 3 hours. It's a miracle that he lasted that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I try to be as big-shouldered as I can and to put those on the shoulders of Christ who can handle it,
Yeah.
He can handle it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, that's right. That's absolutely right. Stuff. When I was in college, I'm shifting here. Hope that's okay.
Yeah.
When I was in college.
This is what we're doing. We're just talking.
Two Jesuits Talking.
There's two of us.
When I was in college, the theater professor, Van Ibsen is his name.
First name Van? Last name
Van
Ibsen?
Ibsen. Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to scratch.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
He said, if you want to know who you are, look at your stuff. Now, in the context of theater making, when you are designing a set or thinking of props, everything that is seen on the stage helps the audience understand who this character is. So it's not just like an apartment scene, but everything in that apartment is to help you define who this character is. So everything is part of this play. But then when I think about looking around my room, maybe looking through my journal or through my heart, I then think to myself, I wonder, this is who I say I am. The things in my room, the things I carry in my head and in my heart, if ever I look through my journal, which I don't really do very often, but when I do, it's this is who I am. And I think about when you and I went to Boston that one time. Oh, we were Boston together, but before our time in theology.
When we vacationed together?
We vacationed together.
Is that when we went and saw You Ought to Know? The Alanis Morissette musical at the American Rep?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Right.
That was a great trip.
And we went to the John F. Kennedy Museum.
Yeah.
And there was a special display of some of his stuff. A lot of it was things in his desk and things on his shelf. It was very tiny things. And the entire time I was walking through there, I was thinking to myself, what would people look at? What if they were taking things out of my room and out of my desk and were to put it in a museum? All I know about John F. Kennedy is what I see in documentaries. And now I have a little bit more of insight about what he kept in his drawers and his pockets and his bags and things. This is JFK. And so I look around my room, again, my journals or even my own head and heart, and I think this is who I am. These are the things that I am. Even though the context of that comment that Van Ibsen said had to do was helpful, personal information, but also was connected to theater, I think it's still relevant to if you look around your room, who does that say you are?
Yeah, I think that's very compelling. And it says a lot about a person. I mean, think about the way some people live, the cars they drive, think about the clothing they wear, think about what they do or they don't have access to, think about what they consume, right? All these things are an indication of not just who they are in a superficial sense, right? Oh, I bet this guy likes owls, for example, you know what I mean? Yeah. But who at their heart they really are, who at their core they really are. Our stuff tells a story, I guess.
Well, and then we think about then we go into a church, and when you walk around and this church tells us who the church says it is. It believes in Mary. It believes in Joseph. It believes in God and the angels and saints. And you just walk in and you can see what our faith believes in. You don't even have to be part of the faith to walk into a church to see what it believes in. Yeah. And that's what that is. And then today on Ash Wednesday, people will walk around with ashes on their head. So who are they? Well, they're Christian, obviously. They believe in something because they are walking around with these ashes on their head.
Yeah, they're marking their foreheads in the context of their Catholic faith that they are going to die and return to dust. But they sort of mark that publicly for people to see.
And it's so, like, the attendance for Ash Wednesday is so large.
Yeah, people love stuff. They love getting their ashes.
Yeah, like getting their ashes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want to go back to your JFK Museum experience. Actually, I was just recently with a bunch of high school students, and it was remembering this crazy thing that a bunch of us Jesuits did who do vocation work. We brought the skull of Jean de Brebeuf.
Oh, sure.
On a tour of different Catholic spaces. Jean de Brebeuf, the very quick story is that he was a French Jesuit missioned to what at the time was called New France, now Canada, to work, to live, to sort of evangelize among the Huron people. He, at the hands of he just suffered a brutal martyrdom. I mean, read about Saint Jean de Brebeuf. We don't have time to get into it here, but we have his skull. We have half of his skull as a relic. And there's something about being close to parts of a person, in his case, a literal part of his body. But there's something about being close to the stuff of people, right? There's something about having a photograph of a person that we've loved that has gone before us in faith. Or another moment, I got to go to El Salvador once as a Jesuit, and the story of Oscar Romero is very compelling. The story of the Jesuit martyrs is very compelling. The story of Rutilio Grande is very compelling. And we went to a little museum. And I don't know why, but because I wear glasses, because you wear glasses, I always look at people's glasses. And Romero had a very distinct pair of glasses.
He did.
And when I saw his glasses in this very humble display case, in fact, I might be misremembering, but I think it was in his bedroom that they had set up these display cases. The bedroom that he had as the Archbishop of San Salvador, they had some of his personal effects in the room, and I saw his glasses, and I just lost it. I was like, oh my God, those are his glasses. Those are a saint's glasses. Those are the glasses through which he saw the world. Those are the glasses from which he read those texts that challenged unjust power and got him killed. Like, his eyeballs looked through those lenses to help clarify where he stood in the world. There is something wild about just that, just stuff. It points us towards something deeper, It points us towards something utterly essential about who we are, our stuff, Anyway, stuff. Gosh, anything else to say about stuff?
There's a lot of it.
There's just a lot of stuff. Do you think, all right, hot take. I'm asking for a hot take. Do you think generally the world would be better with less stuff? And I'm talking like material stuff.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think so too.
I think we could challenge ourselves, challenge our world, challenge our societies to simplify.
Because as much as it is lovely to have things, it's also super distracting.
And it's also super unbalanced. Like, so many people have so much, so many people have so little, And so I'm not saying we have to even that out necessarily, though, of course, we want justice in the world. But I could do well to witness something different with the quantity of stuff that I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think.
I have 2 pairs of boat shoes. Brown, I guess they're not boat shoes, brown loafers. I don't need 2 pairs.
We used to call them deck shoes.
Deck shoes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have 2 of them. I'm wearing one of them right now, and then I have another pair, and I don't know why I have 2. But as an example, right? There is a thing of having too much. I don't need another owl. Seriously. I have a whole wall of crucifixes above my bed. I don't need more crucifixes.
We didn't even talk about there are 60 of them, right?
I don't need any more, So, as much as I love the crucifix, I get the point, right? So it's all kinds of, I also have lots of rosaries. I don't need any more rosaries. And so it just, and I don't need any more records, for goodness sakes. So like, but yet there's something about stuff that is attractive
Yeah.
and distracting. But I think if we have it in the right order, right? I do have all these things, but none of them are like I'm not obsessed with them. They're not my gods. Like I don't obsess over having another record, and it doesn't become the thing that I am saving up for. And if you are saving up for them, that's great. That's not what this is about. But it's just saying that it is not ruling my life to the extent to where I'm forgetting about everything else that I have and am.
Well, I think what you're saying is that stuff very quickly becomes idols.
It can. It really can.
Yeah. And so we have to be free enough, right? I think we're kind of actually like, we're sort of circling a couple of themes. I think one theme is that our stuff tells a story, right? A second theme is that our stuff is a reflection of who we are. It tells our story, but it isn't entirely who we are, right? Our stuff points toward the center of our being, but we have to be free enough to let go of those things, knowing that it doesn't fully capture who we are. It doesn't fully define us, right? There has to be some freedom from stuff in order to be responsive to the way that we're called to be in the world, right?
Yeah,
Something
right.
like that.
That's right.
You know? And I mean, let's just say it this way. I'm thinking of a great Jesuit, Father John Murphy, who did spiritual direction with a lot of guys in formation for a number of years. He had this thing about symbols. And he said, well, a symbol is first and foremost the thing itself, right? So water in the Catholic tradition is a symbol for new life. It's a symbol for freedom. It's a symbol for purity. But water is still fundamentally water, right?
Yeah.
So in that spirit, everything does take on more meaning than it would sort of appear to have, right? The microphone, the mug, the pen, the table, the fireplace, the books, the owls, the t-shirt collection. I mean, there's meaning behind all of it. And the meaning has to point us toward God. And if it does not, we probably need to simplify. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah. Interesting. Stuff.
Stuffies.
I don't know. What else do we want to say here? I feel like we're at like an hour of just talking about stuff.
Well, what's your final thought?
My final thought. Honestly, my final thought is that we will not take anything with us where we're headed. You know,
that's right.
We're not going to be able to take anything with us. And so while I like my stuff, while I love what stuff points me toward, while I love meaning and symbolism, and while I love everything that makes our faith what it is, especially the stuff of our faith, as long as it's pointing me toward the freedom I need to let it all go, knowing that I can't take any of it with me, stuff becomes, I think, a vehicle for the way that God's grace influences me in my life. Stuff, you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Stuff brings joy, hope, grace, peace. Stuff can point us toward the Lord, but only if we're in right relationship with our stuff. So that is something that I feel by this conversation alone compelled to reconsider when I finally get back to my room and I look at my stuff. What about you? Final thought?
Final thought? I don't really. You said everything. You said, I was going to ask. Well, I was listening. I like what you said, and I think I concur. That I concur. I don't have anything else to add. I mean, truly, I don't. It's the stuff of life is Jesus Christ, for me at least, and I don't want to lose sight of that. And I hope others, there's so much stuff in my room that I can lose sight of it. And I have. But
I want to offer a word of, I don't know, encouragement or consolation. You're a sentimental man. By the way, in the back of my head, you know, it's been in my head the whole time. I am a sentimental man who always longed to be a father. Your stuff points you toward relationship. And one of the telltale signs of Jesus at work in the world in our lives is the way that Jesus works through relationships. So there is sort of a progression, right? Your stuff points toward the people of your life. Yeah. The people of your life point you toward God. So the value of stuff is not to be undermined.
No.
And yet, always toward the Lord.
Always towards the Lord.
Yeah, good. What do you say?
I say, We're done.
You know what we don't have is like a little tagline or something.
We can just say goodbye. Goodbye. I like that.
Okay, so here's an outro. This has been Two Jesuits Talking.
Two Jesuits Talking.
Podcast project that we hope brings joy and hope brings levity, that doesn't intend to ignore the realities of the world, but rather find sources of light, joy, hope, happiness, peace, grace, and Jesus in the midst of it. So please come back. We'll do this again next week, right?
Next week. Enjoy your ashes.
Nothing but love, y'all. Peace.
Bye. Oh, hey, Father Damian here, and I just wanted to pop in at the very end here because I realized that we have credits that we have to give at the end of our podcast. Did not realize that, so I want to offer these credits for you so you know where we come from and who helps us make this. So Two Jesuits Talking is a production of the Jesuit Media Lab. This show is edited by Frank Toussaint, who also wrote the music for the show. Mwah, great music. The Jesuit Media Lab team includes Mike Jordan-Lasky, Eric Clayton, Marcus Bleach, and Becky Sindelar. Your hosts are, of course, Father Eric Immel and me, Father Damian Torres-Botello. And to learn more about the Jesuit Media Lab, visit jesuitmedialab.org. And if you are interested in learning more about becoming a Jesuit yourself, check out beajesuit.org. That is all I have. Thanks for listening. See you soon.